Hi, everybody. This is Patty Sliney, Handy Quilter, National Educator. And we had an interesting question come up on one of the Facebook social media groups about whether or not you could create a signature or a name using Pro-Stitcher Premium. And you absolutely can do that. You can use the Pro-Stitcher Record tool, and you can actually record a name or a signature or any kind of freehand drawing you want. And you can do that either at your machine by moving your machine and watching your screen, or you can do it on your laptop if you have ProStitcher Premium installed for use in simulation. So that's what I'm going to show you today. It's easy for me on my laptop because I happen to have a laptop that has a touch screen, so I can use a stylus or a capacitive pen to draw right on my screen, which makes it really easy. If you don't, you can certainly try using your mouse, or if you have a drawing pad like an Intuos drawing pad. If both of those sound a little daunting to you, you can certainly do this again right at your machine by using the Pro Stitcher Record tool and just moving your machine needle and drawing while watching your screen. So let me show you how it's done here in simulation on a laptop. So I'm going to turn Simulate on, and I'm going to move my crosshairs down to the bottom right corner because this is where I want to start drawing, so I have some room on my screen to draw a name. And then I'm going to go to my Pro Stitcher tab. I'm going to touch Record in the ribbon, and then I'm going to turn the Record tool on. And when I touch or click this button in the right sidebar, the Record button, it's going to place a start and end point right where my crosshairs are, and that's where I'm going to actually start drawing my name. So I'm going to turn my tool on, and then I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to draw a name. I'm going to try to stop. There we go. So I've got my start and stop point close to the same horizontal line. I'm going to turn my tool off. So I'm just going to click or touch record again in the right sidebar to turn the tool off. And then I'm going to look at this and see that my end point and start point, although close to being on the same horizontal line, are not quite on the same horizontal line. So I'm going to clean this up a bit by sending it to Designer. So I just go to my Tools tab and I click on Designer, and then Designer will launch for me. Once it launches, it will put the design that I just drew right there in Designer. I'm going to turn my shape tool on, and then I'm going to right click on my ruler at the top and turn snap to grid on, because I want to be able to snap my design points to the grid so they will be like that on the same horizontal plane. There we go. And then I'm going to left click once off away from the design, and then left click again so you can see the changes. So I can confirm start point and end point are on this same horizontal grid line. And then if I want, I can I'm going to turn snap to grid off because I don't want my other points necessarily to snap to the grid. If I want to do a little cleanup, I can maybe move these over a little bit so it looks a little nicer. Once I've made a couple of changes, I'll left click off and kind of look at the design. Left click again. I might want to move this one up a little bit, maybe this one down a little bit. I might want to move this up a wee bit, and then this one matching. Left click off, take a look at my changes. It doesn't look too bad. That actually looks pretty good. So if I'm happy with that, I can go back and send it right back over. You saw my screen flicker. It'll go right back over to Pro Stitcher Premium, which is sitting behind Designer. You can see it here. So I can get back to it. And when you use that send tool back and forth, any changes that I made in Designer When I send them back to ProStitcher Premium, it will overwrite the original design with the changes. So here's my original design. I like how it looks. I'm going to baseline it, but I might want to resize it. So if I go to modify, let's see if I can see what the design size is here. If I click on my design tab, okay, it's pretty close to the height I want, but let's say I want to make it exactly 3 inches tall. So I can go to modify, resize, turn my lock on, select height, click in my field and type 3 and enter. And that resized it so that, and it resized it proportionally so that it is now 3 inches tall. And I'm going to baseline that change and turn off my lock button. And then let's look to see how it might look repeated. The person on social media was looking to maybe repeat the name and stitch it out on fabric. So I was careful to make sure that my start and end point are on the same horizontal plane. So that way when I repeat my horizontal design elements, are going to snap together. And then if I wanted to make fabric and maybe I wanted to wrap it, that might look really pretty on fabric. I could stitch this out and make something. I could make a quilt, I could quilt the quilt, I could stitch it out on quilted fabric and make a bag, a tote bag. So let me undo all my repeats and wraps, get back to my single design element, zoom back in, rebaseline, and then of course I would want to save it. So I would choose File, Save, Selected, and then since I'm on my laptop, I'm going to save it to a folder I use for miscellaneous things. If you're doing this on your machine, you would want to collapse your C drive, get to your D drive, which if I had a flash drive plugged in, you would see D drive right below this, and you would select it, and then you could save it. For my purposes, I am going to go back to that miscellaneous folder. I'm going to save it here, clear this freehand name that ProStitcher gives it, and I'll just say Emma Signature Sample and click Save. So I have it to use. And that's how easy it is to do anything in freehand. You can literally digitize in freehand right in ProStitcher Premium and clean it up in Designer and have some really cool things. It doesn't have to be a signature, it could be anything. It could be a heart, it could be a little animal, it could be anything that you can dream of that you can draw either on your laptop or with your machine using ProStitcher Record. So hope that was helpful. Give it a try, practice in simulation, try drawing your name or somebody's name, and try sending it over to Designer, clean it up a little bit, following my steps, and have some fun.